Hi everybody, my name's Sophie Farinacci and I'm very excited to take you through our Achieving ATAR Goals lecture today. We'll give it a moment or so for you to all get settled and sorted. And just a reminder that you can ask questions, and I'm very pleased to see, there are lots of questions already here. And you can download these slides somewhere down the bottom to the side somewhere, which will enable you to use these, to keep them, to download them to your desktop, and also the recording will be available sooner or later for you. So we'll give it a moment or so, get sorted, get pens, pencils, a notebook, a document open on your app, and in 2 minutes time we will get started. All right, I think we should get going. So before I get into it and introduce the lecture for today, I would just like to acknowledge and pay my respects to sovereign Bunurong people of the Kulin Nations, who are the traditional sovereign owners of the land on which I am zooming in from today to chat with you all. I would like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and leaders emerging, and I would like to extend my respects to any First Nations people who are joining the Zoom today. Hello, and as well as that, I would like to extend my respects and acknowledgement to the country that you're tuning in from. The joy of the interweb. Colonization continues and sovereignty is never ceded. So let's chat today about achieving your ATAR goals through a head start. Here and in this lecture today, I want to tackle organization. I want to tackle study timetables, using resources to help you. I really just want us to get on or have a clear idea, no matter where you are in your VCE or QCE or other CE curriculum journey, no matter where you're coming from in the state, I want us to have a really clear idea and some skills that we can put into place and implement to improve our trajectory throughout the year. And I'm a big proponent of planning and list making and organization, and these, believe it or not, are not innate skills but skills that you learn. If you had met me in 2019, I was forgetting things everywhere. I was working like 3-4 jobs at that time, losing things, forgetting things, going to work with the wrong uniform, so on and so forth. It is through an effort and targeted organization that I have gotten myself to where I am today, where I would consider myself uber organized, which is nice to say. So let's chat about that. Achieving your ATAR goals through a head start. I would like to flag, first of all, some ATAR Notes resources that are available for us. We have study notes, lectures, like the one I'm giving now. I've just come from an English 3, 4, and 1, 2 lecture today, so I've done a lot of lecturing. It is pretty intense. Newsletters, articles, anything you need to help you out, we have available for you. And these resources are tried and tested. Like, I've been there, done that. I have used these. I've relied on them. They helped me throughout year 10, year 11, and year 12. So I can't emphasize how important I think ATAR Notes is for a good VCE. One where you have a good understanding of what to do and what to complete and what to achieve. So definitely check these out. My name is Sophie Farinacci, and I work for TuteSmart ATAR Notes. And at TuteSmart, we deliver and offer premium tutoring from elite Year 12 graduates who know how to get the marks. They've got them themselves, and we're also super committed to our tutoring practice. And ready and available and wanting to help you out. So take a look at TuteSmart. I do 90-minute English 3-4 lessons every Wednesday afternoon, and as well as that, I tutor VCE, English and Psychology Units 1 and 2 for both. So if you have enjoyed my tutoring and you think that I would be a great fit for you, get in touch. We can do a tutoring session whenever you like, as often as you like, as infrequently as you like. So it's all up to you. We'll also have study guides and Ed Unlimited available for you, which is essentially Netflix but for VCE. And as we go, I have some promo codes that I want you to check out for some free stuff and free subscriptions, because we love free things. So let's get into it. 4:08, we've got about 50 minutes to get through this, plus a lot of time to ask and answer questions. So today we will talk about attitude, game plan, and resources. Fantastic. So I'm a big believer in the importance of attitude and in the importance of going into study with a clear mind. Now, getting a head start is not just about learning content. It's about building and developing some really important character attributes like resilience, consistency, individually, a really strong start. And I cannot recommend enough how important having and developing a clear attitude is. Think about your goals for the year. If you're in year 11, just let's think in the macro level. In the specific level of the year that we are in. So 2023 and our academics goals that we are hoping to achieve now. So thinking about that. Firstly, I hope you have a sense of goal or hope or what you're wanting to achieve for the future or where you would like to be in a year's time. All right. I was speaking to my friends about what their New Year's resolutions were and what their goals were. And some of them said, I don't have a goal. And my response was, well, what are some things that you hope for or hope to achieve or hope to implement or get done throughout the year? I would really recommend that you have something that is your driving force through the year, because that will impart a sense of motivation, of determination, and that is what will get you through particularly year 12 or year 11 or VCE, which I say to mean those last few years of study where, it's starting to get pretty serious. So as well as an attitude of resilience and diligence and consistency, individuality, and embarking on a strong start, I would encourage you as well to maintain an attitude of of positivity where possible. Year 12 is a really tough year, at least optimism at the very least. The last few years of high school are really tough. Not only are you 16, 17, 18 trying to work out how to be 16, 17, and 18-year-old, but there is so much to balance. So having these and trying to foster these character traits is conscious. You need to be resilient. You need to try to get back up after you fall off the horse. To pride or to focus on individuality, you need to sort of do, you know how horses, when they're racing, have horse blinkers? I'm not sure what they're called, but you need to sort of tune out all of the competition, all of the ranking that sort of people tend to get bogged down in year 12 and year 11. To remain consistent, you need to not go too hard too soon. You need to know that this is a marathon, not a sprint. To begin with a strong start, you need to have a sense of what it is and how it is that you want to finish. But attitude is so important, and I would really encourage you to go for a walk, sit down, and just take some notes about where it is you want to be at the end of the year, what your goals are this year, because it will be tough. I hope for you it's not, but it is very likely that it will be a tough year, a challenging year, as you know, all years have been over the last few years, I think, for everybody. But with resilience, determination, motivation, openness, and an ethic of improvement, I really believe that no matter what obstacles you're sort of faced with, you will be able to move past them, okay? So, we're talking study in a literal sense and not just an attitudinal sense. Then momentum is a big thing for study. I would really encourage you to stay on top of things because it's a lot easier to keep up than to catch up. Catching up is intense. Catching up requires a sense of pace and briskness that we don't really have the luxury of in year 12. Or we're already moving briskly, is what I'm meaning to say there. So, rather than falling behind a little bit each day, and consistency is really important. So, some things you can do to begin in a strong way is to take advantage of this holiday period. Rest now. Also, like I said, be really clear about what you're wanting to achieve and just make a start. Just begin. Start reading your books now. For instance, in English or literature, have your books read now, at least once for all of them. Absolutely. Okay? Starting strong isn't about getting everything done now, but it's just about putting yourself in the best position to get everything done. Okay, to support yourself through the year, because you will inevitably have to cut corners with your study. The time pressure for year 12 is really intense, right? You're learning a lot in a short amount of time. You will inevitably need to rush over certain aspects. So try your very best to support yourself through study by starting strong with good habits. I'm sure you've heard it takes 30 days to form a habit, and I do agree with that. All right. You might not get the marks you're looking for, thinking about marks, and that is fair, okay? It happens to everyone. But marks are not the be all and end all, and I want to get this across now and establish this now, that marks truly are not the be all and end all. What is more important, and this is why it's so important and so integral to have a really good sort of system of support and a vision for the year ahead, is because marks are not the be all and end all. The whole point of year 12 and the whole point of VCE or QCE is to show yourself what you can achieve. All right, that's the point. To show yourself what you can achieve, to show yourself what is possible. Okay? So, it's about committing yourself to an undertaking. It's about trying your very best. It's about improving. It's not about perfection. Okay? And I hope you can note that. It's not about perfection, but it's about trying your very best. When you get confronted with a SAC or a test or exam that you didn't do as well in as you hoped, I hope you, and I would encourage you to view it as an opportunity rather than a barrier. I get a lot of questions. If I'm only getting 50%, can I still pass? If I'm only getting 50%, can I still get a 40? Whatever it is. I'm less concerned with how it is, what your exact marks are, and I'm more concerned with what you do with the feedback. And I've been harping on about this in my English lecture today, my English lectures today, that it's all about improvement. It's about responding to feedback, and it's about aiming to do better than you did yesterday. That sounds simple, but that's what is key, and that is what will get you over the line. It's not about studying en masse. It's not about churning out exam after practice exam, but it's about working to improve on what you have achieved. It's about trying your best to do better than the last time. That speaks to the notion of consistency that we need to develop. We can't just start at the middle. We need to start at the beginning. You can't start at the end and expect yourself to catch up on everything you've learned beforehand. The best way to be successful is to prepare, continue to put in effort, and give yourself a steady foundation of knowledge, of practice, so that when it's tough, you've got previous study to fall back on. For instance, in one of my students last year had worked really hard all throughout the year, maybe a little too hard. They were burnt out by the time it came to exams. But this student was still doing really well on all of their SACs, all of their practice exams, and this student ended up doing a really good job in their exam itself because they were consistent with their study. They'd done the study at the beginning, so they didn't need to do a massive exam cram at the end of the year in order to make up for that, right? It's also important to note that everybody has their own study style. So people tend to put weight on what worked for other people. I get a lot of questions asking that. What did I do? What did I do? But I'm a very particular learner who learns in a very particular way that other people might not necessarily agree with. For instance, for me, I have to write everything down myself, everything. But for other people, that doesn't necessarily work for them. Sometimes they need to hear it. Sometimes they need to explain it. However it is that you learn, make sure you continue learning in that way. It's really easy again to come back to that idea of competition and ranking that sort of underpins our Year 12, because that is how our university entrance is sort of judged based on how we did relative to other people. It's really easy to let that get you down and bog you down. And to that, I encourage you to just tune out all that chatter that is all about anxiousness, about marks, that's concern about how Linda in the other psychology class is going and how they are performing in there compared to how you are going. It is easy to get caught up in that sort of rhetoric of comparison. If you can avoid it, you are putting yourself in a better spot just because you are maintaining what's important to you. And that is that ethic of improvement rather than competition. That being said, sort of allow your peers to direct you in a sense. Help each other out. Try things out. Borrow ideas here and there. Allow a little bit of healthy competition to motivate you further, but don't get caught up in that, because once again, marks are not important. It's about improving and doing better than you did the last time. And I will stand by that and say it again and again and again and again. Let's talk about developing a game plan. Now, my study game plan was not regimented in the sense of I had set days and times of the week that I studied. I knew when I studied and I knew when I worked best, and my timetable: 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours during the day, 2 hours in the afternoon, 6 hours done and dusted, and some extra revision here and there when I needed to. But my game plan was to break things down. My game plan was to begin with notes, practice questions, redo my notes, correct erroneous knowledge, and continue to practice until I was an expert. That was my game plan. So think about what your study goals this year, your aims, your goals, your strategies, and the standards, the things you can do every day to work towards your goals. Okay? In terms of the system that you can develop to help you out, I would encourage you, like that person before, if you're not sure what sort of learner you are, might be worthwhile to do a little quiz to find it out. What learner are you? But start to think about how you'll take notes. Will you handwrite? I would recommend handwriting. How are you going to store these notes? A good trip to Officeworks will do you very good. I had a planner, a diary, to-do lists. For sure, to-do lists were a massive thing for me. I used to break down everything, and I still do today. Maybe I can show you an example of I put my diary somewhere. Here it is. For instance, I had an interview and some uni work that I had to get done, and so aside from my weekly timetable, or plan, I had my to-do list here. I had to read this and read that and prepare notes and do this module and so on and so forth. But this system and thinking of your study in this way helps you to keep track of all the tasks that you need to complete. Okay. To-do lists, though, were some of my favorite and really is my favorite strategy of organization. Okay. In terms of studying ahead, so studying ahead of the course content, here's an article that I'd recommend you taking a look at. I wouldn't necessarily, I would recommend, the only way I would recommend studying ahead is by making sure before you get into class, so for me, the way I did it, before I got into class, I would make sure I watched the Ed Rollo. An equivalent for you if your school doesn't have Ed Rollo, before I got into class and I was learning about this topic, I would make sure that I read the ATAR notes summary or the ATAR notes course notes about the topic. That is the sort of studying ahead that I would recommend. Before you go into class and before you learn it from your teacher, already have an understanding of what they'll be teaching you. Already have an understanding of what you can expect, of what this topic is, so that when you're in class, you can ask questions. You can put your knowledge to the test. The more you hear knowledge, the easier it is for you to be able to call upon it. The more you will learn it, the more you hear it. Okay? This is a great thing. I view viewed classes as revision rather than as the first time I would learn things. And I would encourage you to view them in a similar way. All right. In terms of holiday homework, you all still have time. 2 more weeks or so. Get going with it. Write a list. Be proactive. You need to set yourself up this year. It will be really, really hectic when you get started. As soon as you step foot and as soon as your first day of year 12 is done, you will think, oh wow, this is going to be a really big year. So set yourself up for the best chance and possibility of success by getting started, doing your holiday homework. Now, we've spoken a little bit about tutoring, and there are lots of questions here. You can also access these slides, but TutorSmart is such a great option if you are looking to get ahead, and if you are